This week I'm going to continue working on this 03 Cobra. Pulled the transmission out, T56 transmission. This was installed with a new clutch and they didn't pay attention to the shift fork, and that shift fork was putting pressure on the pressure plate, and so the clutch was slipping. This was a RXT McLeod clutch, so that's got to come out, and here is the new RST that's going to go in its place. And so these RXTs are not cheap. It's a nice clutch, but just since it was installed incorrectly, it wore out prematurely. So when I take this apart, we're going to have it rebuilt and then put it in a different Cobra that is supposed to make more power than this one. So from the factory, to make sure that everything goes together balanced, they're marked, and I'm not sure if you can see the marking on this one, but I'm just going to color that in with a Sharpie to make sure that we know how it came apart and we know how it's balanced if we need to put it back together. Maybe we just need to buy some replacement discs for this thing. Yeah, so here's the marking from the McLeod. You can kind of see it right here, then it goes on to the Flywheel. I'm also gonna do the, I don't know, intermediate plate that goes in between the pressure plate and the Flywheel. I'm gonna clean those off real good so I can reapply Sharpie over the top of them. I'm going to work my way around these 6 pressure plate bolts, holding that on there, kind of in an even progression. Because all these fasteners do have, they have a flat washer and a lock washer, so I'm going to be careful not to lose any of those. I got them all off of there, so the pressure plate should come off of here. I'm not sure if the discs are going to fall out or what. I think they might, so. Now this intermediate plate can come off here. You can see where I marked it, so that goes on the same. The inner clutch plate is also marked the bottom. Now I can get the flywheel off of here. Alright, so I want to reassemble this RXT next to the RST and see if there's like a height difference, if I can tell any kind of, you know, dramatic height difference. And I'll tell you, as I was taking these apart, the pucks on these things they don't look too bad. I don't know if we're going to need to rebuild these or just run it. I think the clutch might be fine. The problem was that it just wasn't installed correctly and it could never really engage fully. I mean, the pucks are worn down a little bit, but I think it could probably work some more. So I'm going to assemble this thing and see how it stacks up next to the new RST. I have them built. I have these cinched down. I don't notice any kind of dramatic difference that anything's really that much bigger than the other one, taller wise, you know, like this distance. I mean, if I had a straight edge and maybe some measuring tools, I could get a better idea. But it is interesting that it looks like the discs in the RXT are just a little bit bigger, and obviously the flywheel seems more beefier as well. But yeah, so there we go. I think this is probably going to be okay if we just clean it up. We'll probably run it for a little bit, but yeah, there it is. Before I move on from the clutches, I thought it was interesting to kind of compare the two. So this RST over here versus the RXT. The RST has these small spacers here, and whereas the RXT has this bigger plate that's all the way around. Now, I would say that the RXT is probably going to be a little heavier. Maybe I'll bring a scale in and see how much heavier it is. But I wanted to see if the discs were different size. I thought they might be different size, but when I put them over the top of each other, they are the same size. So there is a bit of a difference in the friction material design on the RXT versus the RST, but they both have aluminum flywheels. I think the main difference is going to be this spacer plate, this big yellow aluminum spacer plate versus these little red spacers. I'm gonna prop this fork off of here, and when I spin this throwout bearing, I can tell that I think it makes kind of a lot of noise. It's probably worn out because it was always on the pressure plate, so I'm probably gonna have to replace that. But this thing just kind of slides right off this ball here. Geez, that thing did not want to come off of there. There was a buildup of sludge on the end of this shaft, right, or the sleeve on the inside of this transmission, probably because it was throwing all kinds of material around there. But it didn't want to come up off of there. Everything looks fine other than that. I think just had a buildup on there. Looks like you can move this ball in maybe a little bit. Let's see, get it cleaned up. All right, so this pivot ball is not adjustable. They make these in adjustable heights so you can move in and out. I was hoping I could adjust that in, so I might get an adjustable pivot ball before I put this thing back together. And it's gonna need a throwout bearing. The sleeve looks okay, but I'm gonna put a new throwout bearing on here. And I also cleaned up the pilot bearing. That looks fine. There's still some grease in there. Like I said, this clutch, I don't think it wore out. I think it just wasn't installed correctly and kind of caused it to wear down a little bit prematurely until it didn't feel quite right. Before I get the flywheel up here, I'm gonna make sure this surface is clean, doesn't have any debris or anything on it. Now's a good time to check your rear main seal. If this thing is leaking either from here or the part underneath where this plate goes over, now's a great time to replace the rear main seal if it's leaking. I'm not a huge fan of replacing it just to replace it because you're in here, but if you see it leaking, now's the time to do it. Before I can put the flywheel on there, I need to take apart the pressure plate and the disc so I can get to the flywheel to put it on. These come assembled from McLeod, so you want to keep it in order. These are marked as well with a blue mark here, so try not to lose any of these parts. Keep it in order. I'm going to take it out, flip it upside down, and get down to the flywheel. Yeah, with the pressure plate out of the way and disc number 1 flipped over, now this intermediate plate that's in between the two discs can come off. Now we can put the aluminum flywheel on here. I love these aluminum flywheels. There are spacers on here. You want to try and make sure and not drop any of the spacers. These only go on one way. If you look at the bolt patterns, sometimes I can see it, sometimes I can't. See how it looks like there's a bigger gap right here and possibly right here. You want to try and marry that up with your flywheel. It looks like there's a bigger gap on this flywheel kind of right here. So I'm going to see if I can get a few of these bolts started. The thing is, you get one bolt started and then you got to make sure that all the other bolts line up. You know, sometimes you can do this and you might get 3 or 4 of them lined up, but then there's one that doesn't line up. Yeah, like see, this one doesn't line up, so I need to keep turning it until I can get all the holes lined up. If you get the right angle, you can probably do it without, you know, getting these started. You can just see if the holes are lined up or not. I got all the holes lined up, and I'm going to run these down in somewhat of a star pattern. There is a torque sequence to them, but as long as you're doing like a star pattern, it's going to be all right. So I'm just going to snug them down, and then these get torqued to 65 foot-pounds. Sometimes when you torque these, the flywheel starts spinning, the engine starts turning. So I got, they do make a little holder to hold that thing, to hold the flywheel, but I just got a little pry bar right here, kind of wedged up in here that should hold it. Again, these are torqued to 65 in a star pattern. Now we can put the first disc on. It says flywheel side. It's obviously going to go to the flywheel side. And the floater, they call it, or this intermediate plate. Also keep track of the marking so that it goes where it's supposed to go. These get torqued to 25 foot-pounds. Now that this first plate is in here, this first disc is in here, it should have some movement on there. It says 25 thousandths movement. If it's too much or too little, it can have an effect on how the clutch engages. That feels good right there. Now we can put our top disc on there. It says flywheel side, so that doesn't go to the flywheel, obviously. We can also get our tool in here, our alignment tool, to make sure the splines are going to line up on both of these. And the pressure plate can go on now. Also make sure the marks lined up here. So each of these studs now gets a regular washer, a lock washer, and then a nut. And these get torqued to 35 foot-pounds. Now, when I torque these down, when I start to snug these up, it's gonna hold the discs in place. See how there's movement in this thing still? I like to try and make sure that the discs are centered inside the pressure plate, because once you tighten this pressure plate down, it's not gonna move anymore. You're not gonna be able to move those discs, and so I found that it makes it kind of easier to put the trans in. Before I torque these down to 35 foot-pounds, I'm going to snug them up in kind of a star pattern, again making sure that these discs somewhat stay centered. And I'll torque these to 35 foot-pounds. Last thing I'm going to do is pull this alignment tool out. And there it is, clutch is in. I will put the trans in, but I'm waiting on the adjustable pivot ball. So I ordered one of those. I don't want to just clearance the clutch fork. I want to make sure I get all the tools, or the right parts for it. So that'll be in the next video. I should get it early next week. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions.